こんにちは。テニスソウルのお時間です。今回はフォアハンドでよくある間違い3選を紹介したいと思います。フォアハンドはテニスの中で最も多く使うショットですが、多くの人が無意識にやってしまっている間違いがあります。それが原因で安定感のないフォアハンドになってしまったり、自分の思った通りの威力が出ないといったことが起こる可能性があります。安定感がない、コントロールできないといった悩みをお持ちの方は、今回の動画は必見の内容です。海外で人気のテニスコーチの動画を参考に、フォアハンドで多くの人が陥りがちな間違いと、それを改善する方法を解説します。これらのポイントを修正し、フォアハンドを向上させていきましょ
う。First thing that we're going to talk about is the unit turn. Now, I'm sure you've heard so many people, including myself, talk about the unit turn on and on again, and telling beginner players to initiate their stroke with the unit turn. Initiating the unit turn is generally a problem and an issue for more beginner players. However, players that have been playing for a few years and have developed to a good club level, for example, will often have a nice unit turn. However, it's really common to see these recreational players who start watching the professionals, Alcaraz or Nadal or Djokovic, for example. Their unit turn is a lot greater than a recreational player's unit turn needs to be. What I'm referring to here is that they keep their non-dominant hand on the throat of their racket past the midline of their body here. And the reason why high-level players do this is to really get a nice coil in their upper body and uncoil all of their energy and power into the forehand. However, for a recreational player, this technique might not be appropriate. And I often see recreational players that try to initiate this big unit turn, that when they uncoil out of it, they end up hitting that ball late because they're not quick enough with their racket, and their kind of anticipation skills and receiving skills aren't as good as high-level players, and therefore they time that ball a little bit late here and end up shanking the ball and hitting the ball with their dominant shoulder behind their non-dominant shoulder. And that's not a good position to be in, because you'll be very cramped and you won't be able to hit a lot of power on that ball. So instead, if you're a rec player, try not to have a really big unit turn with that coil. Try and think about your unit turn. That non-dominant hand doesn't go past that midline of the body. So about here is when you take that racket off and start to swing forward. This type of unit turn will be really effective and efficient for you, because it allows you to get that coil with your upper body, but not too much of a coil. Therefore, this type of technique will help with the timing of your swing, and also making sure you're contacting the ball with that dominant shoulder in front of the non-dominant shoulder, because this is crucial for power production.
The most common mistake, assuming that we have a good leverage here, good coil, there is still possible mistake after this, and that is once you go to hit the ball, you go directly at it like this, right? So you go here and then you just simply go towards the ball, right? And usually this kind of shots end up being too flat, or it's with a side spin, and therefore not really consistent. This looks something like this. You go here and I call this a slap, right? So this could work if the ball is on the rise, but it would still need a little bit more drop. So the way to correct this is getting the drop. So the whole arm and the racket should kind of go down. I call this, like, you know, if you're on the second floor here, you just have to drop down. Use the elevator, never mind, elevator down, and then you swing, right? So the correct way here, drop. Remember, the important thing here is that this drop should happen in the last moment. So very, very often I have players, after I explain this, they kind of do this, they go early, and then they're kind of waiting here. So make sure that this drop happens in the very last moment, and then good point reference is that the racket should stay up even after the bounce. So the ball should bounce, the racket should stay up, and then you should go and hit here.
You can't make this mistake where you aren't picking an air target over the net on every single shot. Let me ask you a really simple question. What percentage of the time when you're hitting a forehand do you pick specific targets over the net? Air targets. It should be 100%. I'm not saying you hit your target. I mean, 100% of the time when LeBron James shoots the basketball, he's trying to get it to go in the hoop. Does it always go in? Of course not, but he's aiming 100% of them. You should have in your mind an air target. And to be really simple, the farther back you move, the higher you should hit the ball. And the more forward inside the court, the lower you should hit. If I'm up here, I'm gonna hit the ball lower over the net. So let me just really simply just have an air target. I don't think there are a lot of balls left. So at first, I'm gonna hit low over the net. My goal is to make the ball go within a foot of the net. This would be great if my opponent's coming forward and I want to give them a lower volley, or if I want to hit the ball really hard and keep the ball in. The next idea is if I want to hit the ball higher over the net. So we'll go medium. So I'm going to go a medium height. That was good. I think that ball landed right on the baseline. For some reason the balls aren't catching at the moment. There we go. That was a little too high. Let's see if I can get medium. There we go. So it's like I'm going 3 or 4 feet over the net. It makes it very easy to hit with depth when you hit higher over the net like this. All right, now we're going really high. This is great for a lob or just to kind of kick the ball up to your opponent's backhand if you want to arc it up like this, right? Your opponent probably doesn't like high backhands. So if you hit higher balls to their backhand, now they have to deal with a high backhand. So now I'll hit low. Now I'll hit medium. And now we'll go nice and high. That was a good one. And now we'll go for a drop shot.
本日はフォアハンドでよくある間違い3選を紹介しました。1つ目は体をターンしすぎる。2つ目はラケットダウンをしない。3つ目はネットの通す位置を考えない。でした。今回挙げた3点以外にも初心者が陥りがちな間違いはたくさんあります。それらを改善して理想のフォアハンドを手に入れたい方はぜひコメントを残しておいてください。今後もテニス選手、コーチ、ファンに役立つ方法をどんどん発信していくので、ぜひチャンネル登録、高評価よろしくお願いします。